get started, I'd like to acknowledge two people that played a major role in putting today together. Big shout to Stefania DeKennessy and Odelia Lucius. I hope I pronounced Odelia's name correctly. They played a major role in making today happen. I am eternally indebted to them. Thank you so much to the both of them for all the emails back and forth, booking the room, and just ensuring that today went as smooth as it's gone so far. So thank you so much to Odelia and Stefania. All right, so on with the lecture. I prepared a statement. Usually these things I usually wing it, but Cash Money is an important DJ to me. He's played a major role in me developing my techniques, my appreciation for this art, and I just wanted to make sure that I touched on everything that I felt leading up to today. So I put this little written statement together, and if you guys don't mind, I'd like to read it. Is that cool? New school?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So, I've had numerous DJ mentors in my life. My dad, for one. He taught me how to control a room full of people without ever opening my mouth, so long as I had the right music. John, my older brother, instilled in me an appreciation for DJing's history. Everything he taught me was accompanied with context on who did what, and for that I really appreciate him. Then there was Dr. Butcher. Dr. Butcher was a neighborhood friend that took me under his wing when I turned 18 and introduced me to the spiritual side of DJing. If it wasn't for Dr. Butcher, I don't think I would have discovered myself through DJing. However, it would be negligent of me if I didn't recognize the DJs who guided me from afar. If it were not for the example of DJs like Grandmaster Flash, Grand Wizard Theodore, Grand Mixer DST, and Mixmaster Ice, I don't think I would have developed the passion for DJing that I have, and hence I would not be standing in this room today. Speaking of today, we're gonna honor one of my personal favorite DJs of all time, Philly's own Jerome Hewlett, otherwise known as DJ Cash Money. I've been a student of his since 1986, he just never knew it. From the moment I first heard Scratch Into the Funk, I developed this silent kinship with a man who knew nothing of my existence. Yet his DJ talent nudged me forward to discovering my own DJ talent. DJ Skills and Styles, advanced DJ skills, Brawling Army students, join me in welcoming DJ Cash Money. Thank you for doing this, bro. Got a little stool there for you, the mic's right there. And there's water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, look at this. That's a big boy. AB was good, boy. Let's see it, man.
All right, guys, so before we get into the technical fun stuff, Cash, if you don't mind, just impart on my students and our guests who Jerome Hewlett is. If you don't mind, let's touch on your background. Where did you grow up? How did you cultivate this love for DJing?
I grew up in Philadelphia. I was in a dance group called Franchise Dancers back in the day. It was kind of like right before the whole breakdance wave came in. We had this thing that was kind of like, we called it stepping. Basically, I learned my timing from dancing, and I applied that to DJing. My neighborhood was a very loved neighborhood. They always, they embraced every kid. Like when they say a village raises a kid, that was my neighborhood. I knew really nothing outside of my neighborhood, to be honest with you. I learned everything. Music, we had block parties and parties out in the parks, and I used to have, as a young kid, there would be the DJ playing records out there, and I just was so amazed on how this DJ was just had control over the whole crowd. Like everybody loved him, and I wanted to be that. So that's how it came into that's how the love of DJing came to me.
Awesome.
Yep.
It's not long before students that take my class discover how tactile you have to be on turntables. Literally within the first day, I'm asking them to drop on the one, cue up the one, forget dropping, just queuing it up can be sort of like culture shock for them. Because we're talking about young men and women that maybe never grew up with a turntable in the household. And DJing is all about what you can physically do with records, how to, authentic DJing that is, how to control records and react to what you hear and what you see with regards to the marks. The physicalness involved in DJing, I think, shocks a lot of my students. What I'd like to know from you, Cash, is did DJing come natural to you? Did someone lead you and literally explain to you how to cue up a record, how to listen and drop on time? Or did these techniques come natural to you?
I think they came natural to me. We had some great radio stations in our town. WDAS was our station, and they just had some great DJs on there. I remember hearing a guy named Lawrence Levon. This guy could blend anything together, and he just, every Saturday night, man, I was just glued to the radio, man, and just listening to what he was doing, and I learned so much from him as well. Then I met Grand Wizard Rasheen, who was from my neighborhood, who happened to be the DJ of our dance group, and you know what he was doing. You know, he basically was my mentor. He told me always try to be different than everybody else. So that's what I learned from him. And then I just came up just practicing. You know, I never really hung out like that. You know, it was just all about learning this art form. And I was just trying to just be different than anybody that was out at that time.
That's awesome. All right, let's talk about being different and separating yourself. That's a perfect segue. Something that I appreciate to this day about Cash Money was, or is, his ability to learn a technique and then articulate it in a way that's authentic and unique. We live in a society right now where we have access with regards to everything, but in DJing specifically, we have access to tutorials 24 hours a day. You can pick up your phone right now and do a search for DJ tutorial on YouTube, and 100 videos will come up. Videos of mine, videos of other DJs who teach this art. And what I notice with students is they'll learn a technique and then they rush to post videos of themselves mimicking this technique. It's like they don't have the patience to articulate it in their own way. That takes time, but a lot of DJs just want the recognition now, so they videotape themselves with their phones or their GoPros. Look, I could do this scratch, or I learned this pattern. Watch me freak it. And basically, they're happy and content copying. Something about Cash that always impressed me was his ability to add on to a technique. Here's the thing about DJing, guys. We all have access to the same baseline techniques. Dropping on the one. Doing your baby scratch before the drop. Transforming. Backspinning. Mixing. These are all baseline techniques that every DJ obviously should know how to do. But Cash is one of those pioneers that would take a technique like baby scratching and then morph it into something else. And I want to show you guys an example of what I mean. I'm going to show you guys a video excerpt of Grand Mixer DST, one of my idols, performing with a jazz pianist called Herbie Hancock. This is Rocket live. I want my students to focus on Grand Mixer DST. He has white on and these cool fucking shades, and he's killing it on a word called fresh. Fresh is one of those scratch words that are on the Super Seal drum break records that we use in class. So let's watch Grand Mixer DST, Herbie Hancock. Again, focus on Grand Mixer DST scratches, guys. So we had a combination of baby scratches. Remember, we went over that last week. Baby scratches are scratches. All credit to Grounds and Theodore for stumbling across this cool technique of manipulating records. You're moving the record back and forth without the use of the fader. Grand Mixer DST also incorporated the fader, did a lot of stabs. We're going to talk about the stab scratch on Thursday's lab. Me, being a fan of Grand Mixer DST, at the time, this is 1984, I'll watch DST at age 12, learn the way he was articulating his hand movement, get that stab combo with the baby down, and then think, I'm dope, I'm the best DJ because I could do what Grand Mixer DST does. It wasn't until I started discovering DJs like Cash Money, specifically, that I realized, while I'm excited about being able to mimic what my idols are doing, DJs like Cash Money are setting trends. They're redefining what my idols are doing. I want us to consider what we just heard with regards to Grand Mixer DST's combination of the baby and the stab. And let's check out how Cash Money articulates his fader hand movements and record hand movements. You guys see the difference? Right? Major difference. You have a DJ like Grand Mixer DST saying, here, watch me flip this song and this sound. And you had DJs like myself that were happy copying and being able to flip it the way Grand Mixer DST did. But then you have DJs like Cash Money that took what DST did further. Cash, what I want to know from you is, what was your mindset when you were practicing? What was it about you and your mentality that you never were content with just learning something the way the DJs that came before you, the Grandmaster Flashes, the Theodores, the Whiz Kids, the Grand Mixer DSTs, what was it about you that you just weren't content learning how to scratch the way they scratched?
You copy someone to learn, but you have to make that into your own. And so if I did what DST was doing, I'd be DST, you know, but I wanted to be DJ Cash Money, and I wanted everybody to know that. So, you know, you definitely have to learn from somebody, copy their style, then add your own to it and make it your own.
That's awesome. I want my students to really sit with that over the next few days. I'm going to teach you guys baseline techniques. Don't be content learning it the way I teach it. figure out a way to articulate it in your own way. And it doesn't mean you're competing with Cash Money or me. You're in a way just competing with yourself. Your ability to not be redundant, say the same thing the same ways. This art is about growth. So if you learn a stab, once you master it the way I teach it to you, then take it somewhere else. That's the beauty of this art, and that's why we're here today, gathered in this room, celebrating DJs like Cash Money, is because they were able to take the techniques that the DJs before them did to the next level. And then they passed on to me that mentality that you can't settle. You gotta push forward with whatever it is that you're learning. That's the way to stand out. The first time that I heard Cash Money, I didn't realize it was Cash Money. I thought it was a DJ named Marley Marl who had a slot on a radio show called Mr. Magic's Rap Attack. And Mr. Magic would air live excerpts of concerts. A lot of the music that Marley Marl played had a lot of scratches on it. And for me, that was awesome because as a DJ, up and coming, studying this art, every Friday night, every Saturday night, it was like I was going to school, listening to these DJs. There was one particular night when Marley Marl played a 12-inch record called Scratching to the Funk. I didn't know the name of the song. I knew the song that was being used in this record. It was a song by a group named Trouble Funk called Pump Me Up. Let's just listen to it and we'll discuss. So as you can see, guys, this is an actual record that Marley Marl was playing. But it's not like the song got a proper introduction. It's not like Mr. Magic or Marley Marl said before playing the song, we're gonna get into Scratching to the Funk by DJ Cash Money. So if you just listen to it, it sounds like it's the DJ on the radio executing the scratches. So for the first few seconds, I'm thinking, yo, Marley Marl got like mad good in a week. Like, how is this possible? Like in a week, he's scratching like that. Like, this is crazy. And then after about a minute or so, I came to my senses and I was like, it's impossible for Marley at his skill level last Friday to be able to do that in 6 days. It wasn't until later that I found out he played a 12-inch single from a DJ named Cash Money who was based in Philadelphia. So let's just listen to my favorite part of this song. That part right there, I remember distinctively sitting on my parents' couch in the living room, and when he started dragging the record forward and back, my phone rang, and it was Psycho Les from the Beatnuts. We were in the 6th grade together, and we would listen to the radio, WBLS, Mr. Magic's Rap Attack with Marley Marl. We'd listen to Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out, and then like on Mondays, I'd meet him on our way to school, and he would bring his radio in his school bag, and we would just play a tape of that weekend's mega mixes from these 3 DJs. And we didn't even bother waiting till Monday. He called me during that part, and I picked up the phone, and it's him, and he didn't even say anything, he was just laughing. And I started laughing because that was our response, like we were in shock, like, how is it that this dude is fucking making that sound with Pump Me Up? We knew the song Pump Me Up by Trouble Funk, and we would scratch it. It's a popular song, and DJs before Cash were already cutting it up, but not like that. On that song, that drag scratch, that was the debut. How did you either stumble across that scratch pattern or create it?
It was an accident. Like everything, you know, yeah, it was an accident. I accidentally turned off the turntable, was bringing the record back. I was like, ooh, that sounds alright right there.
Could you show us how'd you guys want to see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see this for myself too.
Basically, it was just like this. Yeah, so basically I was leaving the house, getting ready to go out somewhere, and I had my turntable playing, and it basically went like this. Like, oh, wait a minute, I'm on to something. That's exactly how it happened. And the next thing you know,
Wow. So, the moral of the story is embrace your mistakes, guys. Embrace your mistakes, because this art form was created by mistake. It wasn't like Graham was a Theodore, sat in front of his turntables and was like, you know what? I'm gonna scratch. And I'm gonna take the record and move it back and forth and create this technique that 4 decades later would be taught at a university. It was a mistake. Other DJs saw him articulate this move on a record that he accidentally stumbled across, and now it's an art form. So the drag scratch wasn't something that you intended to do. You just stumbled across it, you were stopping the turntable, and went to stop the platter and it dragged back, or?
yeah, dragged back, and I moved it back and forth a little bit to get that sound, and I was just like, man, let me try to clean this up and make it into something. But a funny story about this record, because as you know, Trouble Funk is like go-go music from originated from DC, and I never really was cutting go-go music like that back in the day. So I happened to be in the studio and working on another project, and the guy who said he owned the rights to Trouble Funk asked me if I could do a mix. So this was the mix. He paid me $150 to do it. It was 1 take, and I pretty much did it, got paid, and moved on. And next thing I know, I'm getting phone calls about, hey man, this record is incredible. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Well, next thing I know, I'm hearing Public Enemy sample it, and every time I seen the Comedy Def Jam, that's the scratch that's on the intro.
Right.
Which
That's
is crazy.
Awesome. All right, so the drag scratch, guys, as you could see, is articulated by holding the record and dragging it forward, okay? You could also drag the record back and in Scratch It to the Funk, you could hear scratch moving forward and backwards, but dragging the record, opposed to moving forwards and backwards and not dragging the record and just executing a baby scratch. That slight change, that, like, what may seem to many as an insignificant physical move, like you're just slowing down a little, literally changed the lexicon of scratching. And I say that because once you incorporate the fader, which for me, is like the bow of a violin. The drag scratch becomes a transformer scratch. The first time that I ever heard a transformer scratch, I was sitting on that same couch in my parents' living room. WBLS, Mr. Magic, Molly Mall were televising Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince's live show at a club called Union Square. Used to be here on 14th Street. Let's just listen to it and we'll discuss.
Hey Jazzy, wait a minute. They didn't make enough noise for me. Give them another transformer scratch, Jazzy. One more transformer. Are y'all down with that or what?
Now, to maybe half of the people here, especially my students, Jazzy Jeff to you might be Jazz from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The guy that used to get kicked out all the time from Will's apartment. But to me, Jazzy Jeff is a phenomenal DJ god. And I was 16 in my parents' living room with my jaw on the floor thinking, what the fuck did I just hear this kid Jazzy Jeff do? Like, how was it that he made a sound mimic the Transformer sounds that I was hearing in the cartoons that I was watching after I got home from school? How is that possible? How could a human being physically like coax that sound out of a turntable? DJs like myself thought because Jeff did it first live on a worldwide stage, we just assumed that DJ Jazzy Jeff invented the scratch. So we were all talking amongst each other, you know, at school. My friends would come over, yo, that Transformer scratch, Jazzy Jeff, oh my God. It wasn't until later that we grew up, started discovering other DJs, doing our own research, that we realized the Transformer was actually invented by a guy named Spinbad. And we also went on to find out that although Spinbad gets the credit for inventing this specific scratch, the most popular scratch in DJing, period, it was Cash Money that gets the credit for quote-unquote perfecting the Transformer. So what I'd like to know from you, Cash, is what do people mean by, well, Spinbad invented it, but Cash Money perfected it?
Well, first of all, it wasn't called a Transformer scratch. Neither did it even sound like a Transformer scratch when Spinbad did it. I saw a videotape of Spinbad doing I can show you better than I can tell you. Yeah, let me see if I got, I'm trying to find the exact same record that he used. Just bear with me for a minute.
Take your time.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll hold the mic.
Okay. Yeah, I saw him do this. He was doing this routine here. That's what Spinbad was doing. Now, I gotta make it my own, right? So I gave it the rhythm, I gave it the funk, and this is what it sounds like. This is a Transformer. That's crazy. It's completely different, but I give Spinbad credit because he gave me something to build on. So that's what I give him credit for. But the Transformer, wasn't even named that. It was my MC that we did a show in at a high school dance called Central High School, where it's the first time I ever did it, and you played it at the
Right.
earlier. Yeah, it was my MC who named it.
Got it.
So everybody started calling it the Transformer after that. Yeah.
Awesome. That's crazy. So the moral of the story there, guys, is if I teach you something, again, figure out a way to personalize it. Don't be content just doing it the way I taught it. Obviously, with regards to this art form, there are a code of rules, unwritten rules that DJs follow and respect. There's a term that we use called biting, and we put the word no in front of the word biting. So no biting, right? Biting means copying. For you guys, it's plagiarism, all right? And if you're writing a paper and you submit your paper to your professor and he sees or she sees that you basically lifted 2 paragraphs from a book or Wikipedia, you're gonna fail. Biting is frowned upon, it's not accepted, it's not something you should do. And listen for mistakes, guys, listen for mistakes. Sometimes you'll experience a happy mistake, and if you're not paying attention, who's to say that one of my students in my advanced DJ skills class might not take the transformer somewhere farther and be sitting up here in 10, 20 years. That was what, 1980, when you stumbled across the spin bag doing it. What year was that? Do you remember?
I want to say we're 84, 85.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it was when the cartoon Transformers was super popular.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, cool. Let's move on. What would you say were the differences between your creativity as a DJ on the competition stage, New Music Seminar, 1987 World Champ, 1988 World DMC Champ? You've toured, you've traveled to countries like Australia, London, I'm sure you've been all over the world. And then you've recorded albums. You released an album called Where's the Party At? With your MC Marvelous, and experienced what it meant to lay scratches in a recording studio. How would you say your creativity changed from the competitor Cash Money to the DJ that toured to the person that was recording scratches in the studio?
Well, the battle DJ Cash Money was about just destroying everybody. I wanted to be the best guy in the whole on the earth. I mean, that was just my mentality. I know some people might look at that as like, oh man, that's kind of arrogant for you to say, but when you're in competition, you know, as my father always said, number 2 is for pencils. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be number 1, and you know, that's what I was after. You know, as far as me being in the studio, you know, this has become, I became a musician. You know, just like a guitar player is playing notes, I'm playing notes on these turntables. These turntables became instruments to me. Yeah, that's basically was my mindset, is to always try to be different. I keep stressing no biting allowed, no copying. You have to learn from somebody, but you have to make it your own, because you know there's already a DJ Cash Money, there's already a Grandmaster Flash. Who are you going to be? And that's the thing.
How about touring? What was different about touring in comparison to working in a studio or competing at a DMC or an NMS battle?
Well, see, the difference is you have to be a well-rounded DJ. You just don't want to just be a DJ known just for scratching and cut. Because if you're playing a party, no one's going to dance. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to play party rock, pretty much. You know, I think I do a pretty good job of balancing both worlds, because I can play the party joints, and then for the guys that's sitting there at the front of the stage like this, just waiting for you to do something, I give them that as well. So you have to balance it. So that's, for me, that's what I learned. Even the kind of music you're playing, and the parties today, man, you can go from rock, reggae, house music. I even blend like country music with hip hop sometimes, man. It all depends,
What advice do you have for my students here in this? Right now we're in the advanced DJ skills section of the lecture.
Okay.
So my students, unlike the intro course, they have more experience DJing. They already took the intro course. This semester, I'm gonna throw 3 challenges at them before the final. And basically, the challenges revolve around their ability to curate a set for a wedding, a club, and more of a lounge environment. 3 distinctly different settings that they have to be prepared for. A lot of DJs only focus on one style of DJing, like they download top 40 music and they're club DJs. And if you ask them to DJ a wedding, they know nothing of Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin. If I was getting married, my parents may not want to hear Drake all night. They may want to hear some Marvin Gaye, some Celia Cruz, some Latin, some funk, some disco. And then obviously my friends that are coming to support me at the wedding, they want to hear their, more modern hip hop. But you can't be stuck in one area if you want to be a true, authentic DJ. What advice do you have for my students and our guests, people that want to learn this art form, or may DJ already, but only have top 40 downloaded in their Serato? What's the best way you think for a DJ to become more well-rounded?
You gotta take chances, man. Anybody can play the top 40. Anybody. But it's what you can do with a record or a genre of music that wasn't meant to be. Actually, Rob, could you do me a favor? Because I'd rather show you than me tell you. Can you pull up on YouTube my 50s and 60s thing? Remember to have fun with whatever you're doing. Have fun. It's fun.
That's amazing. That's amazing because that excerpt proves why hip-hop DJing is the most creative form of DJing. Then you have a slew of DJs in this country, all over the world. You have EDM DJs, you have house DJs, and the thing about hip-hop is there are no rules. There's really only one golden rule, and it's just stay on beat. That's it. But otherwise, I don't even know the name of this song. I'm familiar with the song, but I would never think to play it in my car. I would never think to play it while I'm working out. Yet, in your hands, I like the song because of what you're doing to it. And it's not like, I don't even know, what's the name of the song?
Frankie Lyman, Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
Yeah, right. It makes me think of Happy Days, you know? But the point that I'm trying to make, guys, is that depending on the prism with which you see things, you could turn a 60s song into hip-hop just by how you're manipulating the music. And that's genius to me. And the beauty of that is someone born in that era that may not know what a baby scratch is or a beat juggle is could watch that video and appreciate it because they connect with the music. So that's something you guys should think about when you're putting together, especially your wedding sets. It's not a matter of just playing music that you like. You want to be well-rounded and you want your taste in music to be eclectic as possible. That was dope. Alright, we're just going to touch on a couple more things before we get Cash Money on the turntables.
Wait, you're not going to battle each other?
What? I'll let you battle Cash.
No.
Just a couple of more personal questions I want to ask you, Cash. If you could go back and do this whole thing again, you know, like, you've been around for 3 decades. You've been at this a long time. I've been following your career since 1986. Most of the people here probably weren't even born in 1986. Would you do anything differently?
Yeah, I would. I don't think I would have showed a certain person I'm not gonna say their name. I don't think I would have showed them my style. I think I would have battled them, and then I could have everything to myself. Pretty much. How can I put this? Because I'm going to give you guys some true story, because I'm doing a documentary of my life and my legacy, and you know, I've done so much for this culture, but I don't really get the credit that is due to me, and it's time for me to tell my story. Absolutely. And my truth.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm going to say is probably going to shock people, and probably, I don't know how you might take it, but honestly, I really don't give a fuck. That's my truth, you know. You know, me and Jazzy Jeff, we came up together, and Jeff learned a lot of stuff from me, but the thing that I have a problem with him is because he doesn't tell where he's gotten things from and who influenced him. That has been my only problem. He is a phenomenal guy and my brother. And this is not to knock him in no type of way, but hey, I'm here. You know, Jeff basically got out before me with my style, and it always looked like I was always overshadowed by him. So my fight has been much harder and greater than his. You know, and it's not. There's no comparison, no competition. I just want what I created, even like with the Transformer scratch. And all these things, everybody, I never have nothing for my own. You know, it's always I have to share it with somebody. You know, you didn't create the Transformer scratch. I did. This style of turntables, you know, when I first started out, they were like this.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They were like that.
Yeah, turntables before 1986, or yeah, at least for me, from my prism, watching DJs like Jazzy Jeff, Cash Money, Grand Mixer DST. If you looked at actually, hold on for a second, guys. Let's just really break down what Cash is talking about. So, as you guys can see here, the turntable, the tone arm, is on the right side of the turntable. That's the traditional way DJs like my dad, my brother, Grandmaster Flash, Grounds and Theodore, in this case, these are the hands of Grand Mixer DST, would set up their turntables. Here's the thing, the tone arm is on the right side. So you would set, we call it just straight up, right? You'd set your turntable straight up with the tone arm on the right side. So the tone arm of the left turntable will be straight up on the right side. So when your left hand is moving to the left deck to do a backspin, there'll be times where you would accidentally hit the tone arm, and then the needle would fly off the record. So to avoid that from happening, DJs, let me just find something with Ucash. So you can see here, yeah, this is perfect. See here, now the tone arm is, let's just say at the top of the turntables. So whether you're moving right or left, the tone arm is out of the way. So it frees up space. And we term that Philly style, because at the time, me being from New York, I had no idea that Cash Money and Grand Wizard Rasheen were the first ones to think, I need the tone arm out of my way, so I'm gonna position the turntables the long way so that the tone arm's at the top. Now that we know this, a lot of DJs set up the turntables that way. When you guys first got to class, the turntables were already quote-unquote Philly style, but you didn't know why. It's because of DJs like Cash Money and Grand Wizard Rasheen.
You know what though? I don't even like the term Philly style. I want to stop even using that, because Philly style, all Philly DJs had both turntables on one side.
Yeah, true.
That was Philly style. When I tell you nobody was doing this at all this way, I mean that. Look, you guys don't even know what I've been through. When I played Latin quarters for the very first time up here, I got booed because they thought I was whack because of the way I set my turntables up.
And now everyone sets them up that way.
Well, they became a fan after I got on.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it was I was doing something that was trailblazing, and I didn't even know I was doing it. You know, this was just comfortable for me. I never knew that it would be, you know, the turntable companies make them like that. Now.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
I wish I had that patent.
Yeah. One more question I'd like to ask you, and then we're gonna get on. I'm gonna open the discussion to the floor and see what questions you guys got. The world first heard of Cash Money in 1987 at the New Music Seminar Battle for World Supremacy. That was 31 years ago. Your career spans over 3 decades. Today you're in front of a classroom inside the new school, lecturing students who aspire to be DJs just like you are. Is this where you thought you'd end up when you first decided to start DJing?
Never in a million years. Never. I mean, this art form has taken me, sorry man.
It's okay.
I've raised my family off this, man. I had to live with my mom. It's the only job I've had since I was 19. I've been to countless countries. I got a sneaker deal with Puma. They made me a DJ Cash Money sneaker. Basketball players don't even have that. All because of DJing. You know, it blows my mind, man. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone, man. Like, am I really here? Like, all because of this. A young kid making some damn noise on some turntables that just caught on, you know? And, you know, when I go to Japan and all these people coming out, pulling out merchandise and stuff for me to sign and say they followed me. Like, there was a young lady that was here just today who said, she blew my mind. She said she was a cancer survivor. And I gave her that technique of using this fader because no medicine could cure her. And these are the stories, man, like life-changing stories that just blow my mind, man. Like, I'm just a kid, I was just making noise, you know. So for me, man, it's just absolutely mind-blowing experience for me, man. I never take this for granted, man. Like, even when I announced that I was going to retire, because I was getting tired of the industry and everything, because it's like I got these young kids and these booking agents trying to tell me that something won't work when you weren't even born. And I've been doing this my whole life, like jam-packed clubs. I'm not just talking about no little lounges. I'm talking festivals. Like David Guetta, who's one of the biggest EDM DJs. We were over in Singapore doing a festival. This guy was doing an MTV interview, and I was scheduled to come right after him. I never met him before. He stopped his interview, came over, and hugged me. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this guy, man? Like, come on. He was like, yo, you came to Paris in 1989 and you changed my life forever. Here's a guy that's in the Forbes magazine was the top DJ ever. So when I hear stories like this, man, it just blows my mind. So that's, to answer your question, man, I know. I never thought.
Yet here you are. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'd like to open the floor for a couple of questions. I'm gonna grab the cordless mic from you, and you can just take the cordless one. Let's do like, I don't know, 4 or 5 questions, and then we're gonna get cash on the turntables. Because I know you guys want to see that.
First of all, it's an honor to see you and you be in the room. It's so cool. I was there in the 87, so it's wonderful. You know, hip-hop itself, the culture itself, I'm finding is being more embraced overseas in the truism of the culture than it is here in the States. And being someone that has experienced that, I would like for you to voice your opinion on that, or just give us a sample of the difference, because I'm hearing it more and more from all of my friends that go overseas and come back and they're like, yo, we are just disrespecting something we started and they doing it better than us. And they're like scratching their head like, how did this happen?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the majority of my bookings come from overseas. Actually, I don't really even play in the States, to be honest with you, because there's no clubs really anymore. Over there, you know, you have festivals and stuff, and the people over there, they study us. You know, they study us. They study everything we do, even from the ratchet shit that we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was over, no lie, I was over in Dubai, and these guys were like, so man, how many baby mamas do you have? I'm like, what? They're used to seeing the ratchet television, and that's what they think all of us are and act that way. And then until you explain to them, like, hey bro, I take care of my family's intact, I got a daughter in private school, you know what I'm saying? They're like, for real? I'm like, yeah. So what they see on television is a bad image, but as far as the music and everything goes, they really study us. We're under a microscope over there. And when they take, this isn't just with DJing. I mean, I know Crazy Legs goes over there all the time. You know, he does more business over there than here because of the love. You know, and so you're absolutely right. You know, I would love to play more places here in the States, but it's just, everybody wants to hear top 40 and stripper music. I mean, for me, when you hire me as a DJ, my job is to come in and do something different than the guy that was on before me. Like, what's the point of hiring me to play the same stuff he's playing?
Right.
You know?
Two, with technology, guys, DJing has lost its worth. It was worth more, it was valued more when I was coming up studying DJs like Cash Money. Today, anyone, literally right now, if you don't know how to DJ, you could go to Guitar Center, buy a controller, download MP3s, and start DJing at a local bar in the Lower East Side and get paid and not know how to drop on beat or mix songs, because these bars now know that everyone's DJing, so why pay a Cash Money what he deserves when I could hire a DJ for $50 and free drinks? So the art right now is definitely endangered in a lot of ways, and that's why I feel like lectures like today are important.
I mean, not even just that. I mean, now the big thing is the celebrity DJs.
Right.
Now, for me, I mean, honestly, I have a song on my album that's out now about that. You know, because it's like, I know what a hip hop DJ is. I know what a house music DJ. I know what a reggae DJ is. You know, what the fuck is a celebrity DJ? Like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's
are
crazy.
you better than me? By like, why are you even booked? So you see these guys up on stage. They're getting booked at like clubs like in Las Vegas and stuff like that. But they have a, what you don't see is the DJ that is programming their playlist for them to play. He can't even get a damn gig. So that's why I said, you're already an actor, you're already you're already popular for something else, you're that freaking greedy that you gotta take the shine off the DJ. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I have a problem with today. Like, get out of our culture, man. Like, you have no, if you're up here trying to be better, then I don't have no problem. But a lot of these guys, and females as well, are just getting a check. Like, they're getting booked more than me. And I created this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life right now.
Sign of the times. One or two more questions? Anyone?
Sorry about that rant.
No, you're
I feel
good.
very passionate about that.
You're good, man.
I'm actually interested in what equipment you've actually started using with, especially the mixer. Did they have belt drives? I'm guessing they obviously did.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you a true story. When I first started out, I was using Techniques B101s. They were belt-driven turntables. I always used Gemini mixers, always, because they were cheaper at the time. So that's another thing that I made popular, like the MX2200 with the wood. Like, I was the first DJ to really make that mixer pop. Yeah, it was small.
Yeah.
Like, even when I won, if you look at the, Rob was showing the new music seminar. That wasn't my mixer. They had this big mixer, like this, terrible. Yeah. I mean, my fingers were bleeding because they had like this little switch here for, I don't know what it was for, some type of cue or something, I don't know. But yeah, my mixer of choice was the MX2200, which Jeff ended up getting the sponsorship for, which I'm like, come on, bro. But it's no fault of his. No fault of his. No fault of his. You know what I mean? He got the sponsorship, but he never used that. He used a Newmark. Yeah, absolutely.
One more question before we get cash.
Well, first of all, thank you for everything that you've contributed to hip-hop culture. I remember being in Rob's class last year and almost fighting him about this this party DJ stuff, and I'm like, no, but I want to be like Cash Money. Like, what? How do you learn that? And here's the question. Obviously, not how do you learn how to be like you, but how do you learn to be your own authentic DJ? And he was always emphasizing on having fun with it and not really. And he was like, Carlos, your relationship with your mentor is like your mentor is not really gonna walk you through everything. That they're more of a spiritual figure. They're more like a. And from what I see, from what I've learned about his relationship with Dr. Butcher, is that it's more of a spiritual relationship. It's more abstract than that. So I would like to talk, if you could talk about your relationship with Grand Wizard Rasheen and how that influenced you in your creativity and your authenticity, and what are the guidelines, which is the way that he guided you, because obviously he wasn't just like telling you what to do step by step.
Right. He, well, first of all, it's very important to know where you come from. And it's very important, like, to be honestly, no one would even bringing Rasheen's name up if it wasn't for me giving back because that's very important. I never forget where I come from. He told me to always try to be different than everybody else. That's when I started doing body tricks and things of that nature. But then I grew into my own man. And by me learning those techniques that he taught me, you know, I didn't want to be Rasheen. I had to be Cash Money. So just practice and practice and practice. And like Rob said earlier, you know, don't be afraid to make a mistake, because your best inventions come from a mistake. You know, and that's what happened with me.
The thing about mistakes, guys, is they point you in the right direction. So if you make a mistake and you find yourself pointed in the wrong direction, and you're like, fuck, why am I here? That's a good thing, because all you gotta do is change directions. Go the other way. So embrace your mistakes. Don't feel like you gotta get it the first time. Remember, this art form was created by all kind of DJs, and you have young DJs today. The youngest DJ that won the DMC, the same battle that Cash Money won, was 12 years old. DJ Rena from Japan. Doesn't even speak English, but he could speak that scratch language at 12. So embrace your mistakes, flow with it. I'd like to thank you, Cash, for coming down, dude. But before we let you go, me personally, I gotta see you cut it up, man. So if you guys want to see Cash cut it up, please see those. Yeah. Let's go, Cash.
What I got here, man? Hold up.
Thank you. That was awesome. That was crazy. That was crazy. Thank you, sir. What kind of scratch was that?
Now I understand why you didn't want to battle him.
Exactly. You gotta bow down to Cash Money, man. For real. Thank you, man. That was awesome. All right, guys. We are complete. Advanced DJ skills students. I sent you guys homework earlier today. All right, it's due Wednesday at 8 p.m. We don't meet Wednesday. Thursday we'll have the lab and we'll just discuss the awesomeness that took place today. Ooh, Cash has something for you. What you got, bro?
He's coming out real soon. He's a DJ Cash Money.
Oh shit!
They're not even out yet, man. Yeah, that's for you, brother.
Thank you, sir. I feel weird even placing a record on top of your face.
Do it, man. Just do it.
Right, you're gonna help me scratch better. What else you got, man? Oh, dope. We got some treats for the advanced students. Alright, I'll give them out. Look, man, thank you. Study this. This is gonna make you a better DJ. Study him, make you better.
Don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid to experiment on things that things that, people are afraid to different things together. Like back in the day, I would take a Marvin Gaye record and mix it with sucker MCs. Like, they not supposed to go together, but they did mesh. I found a way to make it work. So don't be afraid, man, because that's what we need. We need more creativity in this art form, man. All right?
Once again, make some noise for Cash Money.